Has anyone here ever wanted to kill someone? I don't mean in the metaphorical sense. Actually, don't incriminate yourselves. For a millisecond, that was true for me. It was 2002. I was with my wife, now ex-wife, of 7 years, someone I loved dearly. I left my cat for her, and what lesbian does that? But she had an emotional affair with a coworker that she could not shake. And I could not shake my fury. It was on the corner of 77th and Amsterdam, right outside of the Natural History Museum, where after a long walk suggested by our couples therapist, we ended to say goodbye, and she uttered something about her undying love for this person that she still wanted in her life. And before I knew it, the fury rolled up my body, and the thing I thought to do was push her into the oncoming rush hour traffic and make it look like an accident. Thankfully, I didn't. But I knew right then and there I needed to pack my things. I moved up to Washington Heights and to the extra bedroom of my friend and wallowed in my fury there. At the time, I was a middle school teacher, and my fury and their hormonalness was like a Molotov cocktail. Every day, we made each other miserable. It was a total dumpster fire. And I knew I needed to do something different. So I'm an early riser, even before menopause. And something my Nana Cuffee told me years ago was that if you get up early enough in the morning, you could see where God walked. I didn't quite understand that, but I was always looking for it. So this morning in 2002, I got up and I dragged myself out of bed and I said to myself, I am going to run until I'm not angry anymore. I brought myself down to 181st Street and I ran a couple of sidewalk slabs, and I walked a couple of sidewalk slabs. And the next day, I was so sore, but I ran a couple of more sidewalk slabs, and I walked a couple of more sidewalk slabs. And then I ran from a light post to the next light post, and then I walked the light post, and then I ran a light post, and then I walked a block, and I ran a block, and I was still fucking angry. So I kept running. Somewhere in the winter, I learned that the New York City Marathon for 2003 was on November 2nd, my birthday. I'm a Scorpio. We get our revenge. And I signed up for it. Some people have midlife crises and they buy a motorcycle or go skydiving. I signed up to run 26.2 miles. I also had the sense that my middle school teaching career was not going very well, and so I didn't renew my contract. And I decided that I would go to Vermont, one of the two places that it was legal for my ex and I to get married, to dissolve our marriage, to be self-righteous and true to the institution. I needed to honor it. I was going to go to Vermont and live a monastic life for 9 months and dissolve that civil union. I'd already gone to the city hall and took care of that business. And so I did, without a car, but I had a cell phone. And I ran from one telephone pole to the next, and they were a lot further apart. And I ran a block, but it wasn't a block, it was a lot longer. And then one day I ran from Brattleboro, Vermont to Putney, Vermont. And I got in my friend's hot tub in the end. I got a job at Brattleboro Union High School, and I met my future wife, but I didn't know it. And traveled to New York City triumphant. I planned my birthday party. It was a pasta party. I was a runner. And I stationed them every 7 miles along the route. I got up that morning and went for a little jog in Chelsea and it was early in the morning, and I saw where drag queens walked. And the next day, I was ready. I ended up in Staten Island, someplace I'd never been in the 12 years I'd been in New York City, and never been to since, with good reason. And there I was on the Verrazano Bridge, standing at the toll bridge. And I ran from Staten Island to Brooklyn. And I ran from Brooklyn to Queens. And I ran from Queens to Manhattan. I got there after the gospel choir sang because I ran 13-minute miles. At about 6 hours into the marathon, it was dark, and I turned into Central Park, and I heard a voice say, "Deidre!" And I turned and looked, and it was my ex. And I waved, and I saw the finish line, and I wasn't angry anymore. That worked for me. It doesn't stop me from signing up for the New York Marathon every 10 years or so. So next year it's on November 5th, and hopefully I won't be angry then. Thanks.